to ready up and then start with the commentary. Yeah, seems like we're readying up. We'll start with commentary as soon as we're loading. So, welcome everyone to the 7th round of PRL Performance Racing League around Britain, Silverstone, which once was an airfield used in World War II. Speaking of wars, but yeah, we in Silverstone then for a 26-lap race. Anticipated by a 19-minute long qualifying session, which will determine the starting grid for today's Grand Prix. In the lineups, we have 19 drivers racing. I don't know if we'll have 20. We'll have a few reserves or new drivers. Looks like it's a common thing nowadays in each race. So we'll start with Ferrari or Big Boy, who's hosting the lobby today. Big Boy and Yurka Guy lining up in first and fourth as they haven't exited the garage yet. Then Faces Spring and Merola in Rebel, Skilled and Swarsek in Alpine, Swarskiller and G-Bear in Haas. So this guy, who I used to call Yonk, actually told me his name is supposed to be pronounced John C. So yeah, John C in 7th, and his teammate Lamsol's driving for AlphaTauri, Bonsai, and I think Bonsai is the only driver for Williams. Actually, he went wide the wrong way as well. I don't know what's he doing, but I think his teammate is in Williams as well. Gaming Nato is in Williams as well. So yeah, Williams have a full lineup. Maybe wrong, but yeah. So Williams have a full lineup, Bonsai and Gaminator. Then we have Friticos and Vincent in Alfa Romeo Concave, and seems like Jordi isn't here today. Concave in Mercedes, the only driver for Mercedes. Now we know who's missing then. Marches and Thornglobe in Aston Martin, Henny Island and F1 Fred in McLaren, and no one else. So yeah, that's your lineups for today's Grand Prix. As we have Concave leaving the garages. A few drivers already on their laps. Starting from the AlphaTauri of Lamsource, who will be first in starting their flying lap here. So it seems like he actually managed to... Sorry for the interruption there. So it seems like, yeah, they got wing damage. I don't know how, but sorry for that interruption, slight interruption. So we have an Alpine, I think, on their out lap, but first driver to set lap actually will be Bonsai. That's it, actually. That's a Mercedes on Alpine. Sorry for the confusion. As we have Bonsai now coming through Megas and Mech-Kits. This is the home race for many people in PRL. Well, looks like we have Swolsek, Criticos and F1 Fred on mediums, while the rest on softs. I mean, mediums to softs is quite a good strategy around here. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the tracks where mediums to softs works best, but softs to mediums is not to be underestimated. It's up to the driver what to choose and to the team. 128.452 for Bonsai. He crosses the line in a temporary pole position, followed by Alfa Romeo, who started the lap. McLaren just spun. It was Henny Island, letting Skiddle to go through and start the lap. So yeah, looks like a few drivers still on setting a lap. We'll go on board with that's Wolsek, yeah? Wolsek still on an hour lap. Wells is on a flying lap then. Vincent. The two Alfa Romeos. Friticos is validating the lap, then we have Friticos, Vincent, coming through Cops. He currently got a purple sector 1, so this could mean he may get a pole position, depends on what he sets here. If you have a good exit round Megas, it will give you a massive boost for this long straight. Purple sector 2 then, as he has the hairs of G-Bear behind, trying to get slipstream as he starts the lap in a bit. Last 3 corners then. Comes around the last corner to cross the line and signal pole position time of as a 128.037, literally 4 tenths ahead of Bonsai. So at the last minute of the qualifying session, so last few minutes, 3 minutes for example, we'll have some predictions to make as always. I'll post a poll in the Twitch chat. So Henry goes into the pits. He lined up in second for, earlier. They set at 128.159, which is not far away from Vincent's fastest time, but Skiddled, though, goes even faster, below 128, sets at 127.784. I mean, Vincent was close to going below 128, but still didn't manage to do that for now. So Skiddled is the first person to go below 128 right now. So we have Bonsai who got dropped to P4 with Swolsec on mediums in P5, 129.498. Merola in 6th. Actually now in 5th as he improves the lap to a 129.390 and gets 1/10 faster than Swolsec, pushing him to 6th. Big Boy invalidated the lap. We have next lots of drivers actually. Game Inator is coming through the last corner to cross the line in 5th. Behind his teammate 129.321. Mortis now separates the two Williams in 6th. Drop from G-Bear to 6th. 128.201 for G-Bear and 128.540 for Mortis. Skidded improves his time even more to a 127.608. That's quite even faster for the Alpine driver. He's already on 3 lap all sorts, which is not healthy for the tires. Yuka guy set to 142.565, who's going to improve probably. Purple sector 1 from the Ferrari driver as he now proceeds to go onto sector 2 and approach Cops in a bit. Let's see if we can do anything to beat the current fastest time as 127.608. Let's say 128.037, which doesn't put him in first, but literally the same time as Vincent, that is. Oh my. He actually set the same time as Vincent. And lines up in third though, because Vincent set it first. Well, Thornglobe though lines up behind his teammate in 8th, 128.944 for him. Gaminator with a 129.321 in 9th. Merola in 10th as 11th. Big Boy also about to complete their flying lap. That's 9th for Big Boy. 129.105. Gets in the top 10. So we have Swarskiller getting a lap soon, and he validates it by going too much on the inside curb in Magazine Buckets. Verticos now though goes below 128, setting a 127.647, which is really close to Skiddled's time. Spiroka guy now improves to a 127.702. I think Thornglobe improved, yeah. So 128.086 in 7th now. And Henny Island in 4th with a 127.896. Most of other drivers are setting the laps. Yeah, this is looking quite close up. Skill, I think he's setting another lap. Yeah, so it's open for the Haas driver. He's about to cross the line 2 corners. This will be looking quite close. Post your prediction in predictions in the chat. Maggots and Beckets to go. Try to get advantage of the slipstream. Oh my, that was so close to facing the spring. Who's gonna get it? The slipstream from both Red Bulls there. Last 3 corners. Post your predictions in the chat if you have any to make for this qualifying session. That's 8th. It's him ahead of his teammate with a 128.116. Gap is really close though. Gaps are really close. Namsos himself in 11th, 128.848. Faces Spring now on a lap. Hasn't set 1 so far. The cops he goes. Also, I don't know whether someone will try to do a famous move we've seen in the 2021 season in the real F1. A cops does a dangerous corner once he goes side by side. However, it seems like he validated his lap and we'll have to set another one. John C next to set a lap. Seeks to go through cops as well. It was a bit wide, doesn't validate likely for him. Seeks to go through Mackers and Mackers now. Yellow flag in sector 1. It gets cleared. The airspace opens. Seeks to approach the last 4 corners and enter sector 3 as well. He has wing damage as well from the telemetry. It shows a red wrench symbol. That's 12 for John C. 128.526 for the AutoTauri driver. Basically, Spring still invalidated the lap, and F1 Fred now starting a new lap, new flying lap. The only one on mediums as well. He has like a run at the end. The qualifying session is getting drawn to a close. Let's see how this turns out to be. Sector 1. So 28.888. Mortis retires on track as the engine ends in 1 minute. So, through cops, he slows down through cops. Huh. That's actually a new tactic. New way of approaching cops. Never seen that before. Maggots and Beckers. Wolsek retires as well. There's no more time to set a lap. The airspace opens. The McLaren driver currently sitting in last place as Concave didn't set a lap. Concave stayed in the pits without setting a lap. The only Mercedes driver as well. Vincent's a pole position and Skittle didn't go out on a lap. 7.539. Can anyone improve that time? As F1 Fred lines up in 17th after sitting on 132.28. Facing Spring will line up in 18th after invalidating the lap for the another time. Gaminator invalidated as well. Lambs also unlapped. Big Boy also unlapped. Yeah, everyone is unlapped so far. Yukagai completes the session in 4th. Critical Spits. Henny Island in 5th. Can anyone get that pole position though? Up next, we have G-Bet, who seems to have aborted. So Thunglobe is next. This will be close. It's a 127.597 per team in second. Bonsai aborts. Junsi next. He has the McLaren of F1 Fred behind. Crosses the line and gets the 8th place, 128.040. Gets himself into the top 10 on used softs. So that's your starting grid for this Grand Prix then. Vincent, out of nowhere, gets a pole position, followed by Thunglobe and Skilled. This season is getting even closer than what the start seemed to be. And Jordy isn't here either, so that will make it more interesting. Sorry for that. Let's see. We have, okay, here we go then. That's the end of your qualifying session. So yeah, Synonymous showing sort of respect for Alfa Romeo. We have then Vincent lining up in first for this Grand Prix, followed by Thunglobe and Skilled. Then in the rest of the top 10, Fujiko's Yukagai, Henyan and Yukagai actually didn't manage to get that pole position in the end. Henyan in 6th, Bonsai, John C, Swarskiller and Lampmarch is rounding out your top 10. We have G-Bear then, Merola, Big Boy, Zworsek, Lamb Sauce, Gaminator, F1 Fred, Faces Spring and Concave Page in last place. Those last two drivers didn't manage to set a lap. But here we go with the race. 26 laps around Silverstone to see who's going to win the 7th round. Who's going to get the podium. Points matter. Points matter. We'll have a formation lap before we start getting to the racing part. And it's raining. It's actually raining. Oh well. No one would have expected that. Well, it's heavy rain, not even light rain. It's heavy rain. Oh well. This may actually ruin some dreams for some people. If you're good at the rain, this will be your chance. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect it would rain. Probably the drivers already knew. This is gonna make stuff interesting. Here we go on the way with the formation lap then. Everyone's on wets. I don't know if it will be a wet to dry. You'd seem more likely to be wet to dry, to be honest, but it depends on what the weather it will be like. Then we'll see. So we have Lamsos and Gaming 8 already colliding with each other, getting disqualified. So it seems like the safety car has actually been fixed, which is quite surprising. The safety car doesn't come out as often, and it doesn't give you that many penalties for hitting somebody. So is that a sign that they're making a good step towards making a better game? Well, we'll see. For now, let's focus on this 26 lap race around the British Grand Prix, British circuit of Silverstone. We have Vincent in first, Stormglobe in second, Skittles in third, Friticus in fourth, Yokogai in fifth, who could look for a move from the fellow Ferrari Academy team. We have Big Boy in Zworsek, who collided as well. That's 4 drivers out in the formation lap. Henyaland in 6th as he gets overtaken by Bonsai, apparently. He was supposed to be in 7th, but got plays up, though he will get fixed once he reaches the starting grid. Lap Morchis, more collisions. Yeah, Lap Morchis and Fizzy Spring. Lap Morchis and Fizzy Spring collided somehow. And we have Zwarskiller in 9th, Morchis in 10th, G-Bay in 11th, Metroller in 12th. Sorry. My voice is leaving me. Big Boy in 13th, Zworsek in 14th, Lamsos in 15th, Gaming 8 in 16th, F1 Freddy in 17th, Facey Spring in 18th, and Concave Page in 19th, as everyone lines up in the grid now. We go, waiting for the last McLaren F1 Fred, lining up in the 17th spot to start this Grand Prix. Oh well. Well, that's not what I could have expected. What's happening to that Mercedes? That Mercedes is literally... Oh, I mean, is there a restart then? Well, Concave Page has been pushed by F1 Fred. This may be a restart. Concave has to leave, I think. Concave may have to quit. Oh my, why? This is the second time it happens this week. There we go. Okay. What the? Now we have to wait for Concave to make the whole formation lap. We may have to wait for him to get back to the... Oh. Okay, there we go then. If everyone loads, we may be going now. Okay, slide 7, away we go then. We may be a restart, I don't know, but let's commentate with what's going on right now. Slide 7, away we go, as we have some drive-through penalties for Morchis, as Vincent keeps the lead for now, followed by Thornglobe, who tries to break late into turn 3 and gets the lead out of nowhere. Vincent tries to get back to where he was, as we have more contacts at the back. Lamsos had a terrible start in 19th currently. I don't know if it will be a restart, we'll see. Okay, battling with Skill right now for that 3rd place, as he has as well Skill now breaking in the battle. As well, Concave Page and Morchis fighting. So yellow flag from Gaming 8. Gaming 8. Yellow flag for him as he spun out apparently. I don't know if there was contact or anything. The 2 McLarens are out as well. F1 Fred and Henny Allen. This is a terrible weekend for McLaren again. And Slam Source seems to have wind damage, because he went a bit wide there. So far so good though. Okay, already up to 4th. As Friticos got pushed to 15th. Got dropped to 15th, I don't know why. He also spun now in Maggots and Beckett's. The rain isn't helping at all. So he got wind damage. Full wind damage for the Alfa Romeo driver. This is turns out to be a terrible race for Alfa Romeo and McLaren all of a sudden. As we have the Red Bull of Fizzy Spring onto Big Boy to make the move for the 9th place. He makes it successfully. Now John C up next on the Ferrari on the outside line. Eliminator spins again in cops. John C has to stay behind for now. We have Bonsai's Wolfskiller fighting for the 5th place. The top 5 is really top 5, getting a top 5 means a lot. It means a lot of points. Vincent gets 3 seconds meanwhile for track limits. As we have another spin from Gaming Agent Maggots. He may as well be lapped. F1 Fred gets 5 seconds for spinning in the pit lane. And we have a virtual safety car deployed. 4 people in the pits. This is what happened at the start. May have a restart. I don't know. No, it doesn't seem like it. Yuka up to 3rd already. To make the place past Skiddled. He got dropped to 4th. Throne Globe in 2nd, and Vincent still keeping that lead. With the penalty though. That will be really important now. G-Bag makes the place past Wolfsack. What's going on? F1 Fred and another person, Mortis probably, both got a drive-through penalty for, actually that's Lamsource, Mortis and F1 Fred for not following the Delta time during the virtual safety car. Big Boy makes it past G-Bear now. As there's a spin from Lamsos in the last corner. Yeah, it looks like there's quite a battle for the top 3 right now. Though Wolfskiller is getting dropped behind. Skittle is still making trying to keep up with Yuka. Marches now pits. Surface drive through. Boy and Pages bring close to each other as well for that 8th place. Ferrari versus Red Bull, something we may see in real life as well. Skaminator now gets 3 seconds for track limits. Meanwhile, Skittle is trying to get that 3rd place as there's another spin from Nat Mortis as he exits the pits. Purple sector 2 from Skiddled. So far so good. And gets dropped by Fruticos to 16th after he spins. Not the best of races for McLaren, and we saw they had bad luck at Imola. Big Boy taps the Fizzy Spring. Lots of fastest lap getting set by many drivers now. Bonsai is the latest one. Set lap, fastest lap. Film Globe 3 seconds for track limits. And G-Bear now pits, leaving the 12th spot to Concave. Now F1 Fred gets lapped, as well as Gaminator. He's spun, and he's not moving. Fizzy Spring also spun. Fizzy Spring spun as his teammate goes by. Well, you know what happened to them. We have a huge train here for the 2nd place. Gaminator gets 10 seconds for exceeding the track limits. What? Yeah, it looks like Thunglob is struggling on those wets. Skillet is getting closer to both of them. Trying to go for a move. Round the inside. Magus and Beckett. Outside now. They make contact, but Skillet is through. He's in the third place as he gets 3 seconds for track limits. Oh well, Yokogai not the best of races for them as they're struggling a bit. But they're getting closer now due to slipstream. There's another yellow flag from Williams. Looks like not many drivers are good at the rain, as you can see. Thungleb will soon have to face Skiddled. Wanted to go past as he lets him pass. Get the second place. Yukage is approaching. Thungleb didn't have the best of exits. Make it past turn 1. So others are approaching behind. Swidigos gets 3 seconds for track limits. We see the Haas now as well. Skiller trying to make the place on Yukage, but he has to stay back as he hadn't had that much of gap. As it wasn't that close to make the move. Bonsai now catching up. Due to the slipstream, going on the inside. Skiller tried to keep the place and he does so perfectly. So, we're already lap 5, and we're having so many yellow flags I lost the count. F1 Fred gets another 10-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. He may have given up as well. Bonsai gets closer to Swarskiller. Many drivers wanted to make moves here, but they have to be careful as rain won't forgive a loss of traction, and that's a major safety car for Gaminator retiring from the session, which gets updated to a safety car, full course caution. Now this will change will flip the tables, and we'll see if anyone will decide to hit, but it doesn't seem like the rain intensity is decreasing. So it looks like Yokogai also got a penalty. 3 seconds for track limits. Skilling meanwhile is trying to catch to Vincent and will probably have the best of chances now that there's a safety car. So, let me make a summary of what happened for who joins the stream now. We had this start, we had some glitches at the start, but we made it work, luckily. F1 Fred now retires. What happened though? Vincent kept the lead so far. Skittle in second, Thunglobe in third, Yukaga in fourth, Swarskiller in 5th, Bonsai in 6th, Wolfsek in 7th, John C in 8th, Big Boy in 9th, Metrola in 10th, Concave in 11th, Faces Spring in 12th, G-Boy in 13th, Friticos in 14th, Henyaland in 15th, Lamsors in 16th, and Mochis in 17th. It looks like there were so many yellow flags due to the poor weather conditions. This driver still managed to do a pretty good job. And Skittle is now hunting Vincent for the original spot he had in qualifying, the first place. Whether he'll be able to do it or not is up to him. With a safety car, of course, you can't overtake. So we'll have to wait for it to end, which will probably be next lap. Maximum laps the safety car can last is 5. So the next lap probably will go in. The drivers have to be really careful not getting penalties. Like, for real. Because that will ruin their chances. Marches 3 seconds for track limits. Nothing, not much going on at the moment, as this is a safety car. Should be in this lap. We'll get back to racing soon. Well, I may be wrong, but yeah. Rain hasn't satisfied many drivers. And we don't know if we will go dry either. It's just about patience. It seems like a few illegal overtakes being done during a safety car. Koskila, once I had got the demoted to 6th, and got the place back on Koskila. And now approaching the pack. We should be getting back to racing this lap. But we'll also, of course, we'll have to see if the race director decides so. An official statement. Yeah, safety car in this lap as I expected. Safety car in this lap. And this will hurt Marches though. Not really for Lamsors, because he's close. Marches won't be able to catch up. Barely. And so now proceeds to restart this Grand Prix. And we'll see what happens now. As he proceeds, can we change the camera angle please? It's a green flag. We get back to racing as Stone Globe already gets close enough to Skittle to make a move as backs out. There's a yellow flag already from Fizzy Spring, who spun. the last corner. And damage his own wing. That's a bad spin. That's a bad spin. We have someone going after that big boy. Has to rejoin the truck safely though. And now so. Almost hitting Matt Roller in the process. There's another yellow flag and that's Face Spring who now retires. Who now retires. Doesn't bring out a safety car luckily. Another one will have been paying. But yeah. Now we have an even a bigger train with the top two. Wolfskiller. Onza's getting his letting Wolfskiller pass. Wolfskiller is catching up behind. 2 cops to go. G-Bear also makes it pass Marola. Wolfskiller catching up on the Williams ahead. Has to back out. And this is a bit of tense doing that. Big boy gets 3 seconds for truck limits. Hennian is about to make the move and Fritigos on the outside. Fritigos loses it. And has to give the place back to Hennian as Concave catches up meanwhile on the Mercedes. Will he brake late? Unfortunately, Fritigos was already ahead. This train is still going on for the top 2. Now transforming into the top 3. Skittle pulled away easily. And making the move on Matt Roller. Henderson having a lot of pace right now on fresh tires. Will soon make it up to the top 10. Because also close on Matt Roller with the tire difference. Or named Shark joined. No DRS of course. But yeah. Digo stays back. Meanwhile Swarsky is catching up to Bonsai. Now Swarsky is even closer now to Yurkagai. Both as they all go through cops. Meantime. No one's making moves so far. No one has made a single move apart from Hennian. For the Bonsai trying to go on the inside as there's Hennian retired. What happened there? He may have lost it. All of a sudden, and that's another safety car there. Of course, caution. On track. What happened? That's something I didn't expect. Well, that's both McLaren's out. And John C and G Bear going into the pits. Merrill and Fiticos follow behind. What a bad crash for Hennian. There was something heartbreaking for sure for the McLaren driver. Well, things are happening as Turnlow gets past, goes past Skittled. That gives him the place back. That's an illegal overtake during the safety car period, during any yellow flag period. Oh yeah. Vincent though, can I just mention how Vincent still kept the lead? I don't want to give him commentator's curse, but he still kept the lead. He's dominating this race so far. He pulled away easily from Skilled during the previous safety car restart, but will he be able to do the same now? As the safety car will be next lap. Now, Friticus, Merola, Jiba, and John C are all on used tires. Skittle decides to pit. Skittle decides to pit, as well as... Oh, what is happening behind? Most of the drivers decide to pit. That means that Vincent is first. Yukagai, that may be an undercut attempt, which may as well walk out or not. Depends. But if the weather suddenly changes to dry, it will help those people massively. As we have Vincent currently lining up in first, Yukagai in second, Bonsai in third. Thungo decided to pit for intermediates for some weird reason, even though it's not light rain yet. Maybe. Bonsai in third, Wolsek in fourth, for Concave in fifth, Lamsos in sixth, Mortis in seventh, John C in eighth, Jibe in ninth, Memorlane in 10th, Friticos in 11th, Wolskade in 12th, Skiddled in 13th, Thunglobe in 14th, and Big Boy in 15th. As the safety car will be in this lap. So, we'll see what happens now. Someone went off there. Mercedes of Concave. Okay, is right behind Vincent, ready to take the first place. But there are pit stops to keep in mind. Half of the grid has pit. Safety guys in this lap. Now we get back to racing. Make sure to get involved in the chat as well. As we there was a collision between Yokagai and Bonsai. Is that a penalty? No. Told you, they fixed it. Last 3 corners then. As we soon to have a green flag, Big Boy and Thunglobe there fighting for a 14th place already. It's not a green flag yet. Green flag it is then. Green flag it is, and no moves right now, but Fritz goes. Thor may make a move, gets attacked by his Wallskiller. He breaks late into the next corner. Wallskiller tries to send it, as well as Skiddled on Merola, who's struggling a lot now. They make contact with Skiddled. I see the flag as well ahead. But yeah, lots of drivers making a pass. Merola, who gets dropped massively. Big Boy now trying to make the move on the inside of Skiddled. Oh, and they almost spin Big Boy, but makes it pass. What a move! Literally, that was that was new to me. Skiddle has to what is Merola doing? Get back to the front of the pack. Bonsai Yokogai currently fighting for the 2nd place, and they're getting John C and others are already catching up to them. They have to think of something quickly. Friticus gets 3 seconds for truck limits. Well, Mudge is now trying the slipstream technique, the weaving technique, not to let others get slipstream. Concave is already 4 seconds behind Wolsek, who pits. Wolsek pits. No one else in this group who didn't pit, has pit. And Bonsai is really close to Yokogai, who can make a move anytime. The question is, will he be close enough to make one? They're all close. They're all close. Anything could happen right now. If Vincent spins, let's say, a bad thing will happen. Let's hope not. Fritikus now makes it past Jiba and soon to make it past all the drivers as well. Raw seconds gets 3 seconds for track limits. Fritikus having a oh, and Mo just collided with him. Luckily didn't lose it, but that was a really bad moment where to lose it. Big Boy fights with Squirrel for the 9th place. Oh my, Fritikus though having a massive restart right now. Monchis gets 3 seconds meanwhile as Concave lead slows the authority of Jump C down. Fritikus tries to make two cars in a row as he tries to go around the outside. He's 3 wide at the 4th last corner. But Fritikus makes 2 cars in a row then. What a move, he's already up to 4th place. Considering the starts he's had. Now for the lead, the battle for the lead, Yukagai stays behind Vincent as the Williams of Bonza is really close to them. And we're focusing on this battle. Skilled makes it past Skiller. Skiller gets dropped even further down the line. But what a move from Fritikus. He's already up to 4th and hunting down those people. Yukagai loses it and has to cut the grass like a lawnmower. Mercedes lawnmower. Now, except it's the Ferrari. He loses the place on Bonsai now as well. Now Bonsai has clean air to fight Vincent. As Jibe side by side with Skilled meanwhile. Make it past. Skilled though has better cornering. They're still side by side. Skilled is not giving up. Neither is Jibe, and they both lose on the Ferrari Big Boy and World Skiller. But Skiller is already, he's still side by side with World Skiller though. Skiller, and he gets 3 seconds in the process. Through cops they go. And yeah, hopefully. That wasn't a bad thing. Jibe wanted to go past his teammate. They go side by side through Megas and Mech-Kits. World Skiller stays back. Zuga gets 3 seconds for truck limits as Bonsai now pits. And gives Yuka that 2nd place back. Fritikus meanwhile improves the lap Bonsai had set to a 141.267. And right now, we have an even close battle between those 3 cars, the top 5. Concave tries to defend, he brakes on a straight, and that gives Jibe enough time to catch and try to make the move. He's still on the inside, and he makes the move on Concave, gets 6th. Oh, and that's a loss of traction from Concave, who's on 15 laps in wet, which are leaving him, and he now gets dropped out of the point zone. What's a bet? Lots of traction from him. Skittle close enough to Skiller, trying to make his way back up to the top 3. He goes on the inside at the last minute and makes the place on the Haas. Now he's in a Haas sandwich, trying to catch his teammate. Vincent now pits, leaving Yokagai the 1st place. He has to pit soon as well. Otherwise he'll lose a lot of Friticos. Vincent's teammates. And Friticos sets an even better lap, 140.979. Yokagai may as well be under a lot of pressure right now. Another set of wets for Vincent. Still really close to Big Boy. Strong level in Samid is not doing that bad. Lamso spins. Well, like 3 seconds of track limits. Skittle almost had the chance to make the move, but has to stay back. The boy tries not to give him slipstream, and he walks. While behind we have the 2 Haas cars approaching. And Thorglobe and Last Mortis as well in the Aston Martins. Because meanwhile already made up a lot of temps that he's catched up on Yokogai. If Yokogai doesn't beat now, that would be the end of a possible top 5. Because makes up a lot of tens, and thousands and hundreds. Will Yokogai pit? Yes, he will. So Yokogai is the penultimate guy to pit on those dead wets. Lamsauce gets 3 seconds of the track limits. Lamsauce, actually the third last, Lamsauce and Funky didn't pit either. But that gives Triticus the lead of the Grand Prix. Followed by John C in second. And Big Boy in third. Getting haunted by Skittle for the third place. You know, managed to make them the places. No. Managed to make those places back. Gets even closer to the Ferrari of Big Boy. Almost loses it. That gives Roskilde enough time to catch up. And his teammate is getting left behind in the process. Yellow flag, and that's Concave who retires. And that's another safety car. Oh well, that will change the leaderboard a lot. Oh well. Then we should shake up things now. Literally. Concave's crash, which was a bad one, I don't know if it was contact or anything. But yeah, will anyone pit now? That's the question. So far everyone's staying out. Because they're trying to make the move on memorable under safety car conditions. Everyone's staying out. Will Lamso stay out as well? Depends, I guess. Yeah, he's staying out on 70 lap holds wets. Now the safety car will probably last 2 laps. So as we wait for the safety car to go in, so far the only people without a penalty who could take advantage of that are Jonesy, Merola and Bonsai. Rest of the drivers all have a penalty, with Thunglum having 9 seconds, the driver with the most among penalties. Right now it's light rain though. The rain intensity has decreased, which means the intermediates could be a good tire to go on. So looks like safety guys in his lap then. Now it's a 6-lap sprint, actually a 5-lap sprint to the end, to the checkered flag. Can Friticos keep his lead? Can Vincent get that back? Can anyone else get that back? Post your predictions in the chat. Because gets up to speed now. That's a green flag. Vincent and Bombs are already making moves, and Vincent spins out like I think basically spring either or Concord. I don't know. But that was not what I would have expected, and not what he would have expected either. The guy taps Momzai, who lets him pass. Actually doesn't. That was just loss of traction from Williams' driver. The guy though is behind. I'm gonna make it to the top 3 unfortunately. We'll probably try to get points though. Skill is catching up to Thermalo meanwhile. Oh, and he taps it as well. Wrong cops. Doesn't want to make the move. Gives him an extra boost as well. Tries to go on the inside then, and makes it pass cleanly. And gets that 6th place. Meanwhile, Zosek is also catching up on Marches, and Bomzek gets 3 seconds on track limits. Marches runs 14 laps wets. Zoskiller also close to Big Y. Lots of drivers close to each other. Zoskiller though is trying to send it round the 3rd last corner. He tries to go side by side with Big Boy. Still doesn't give up, but has to stay back right now. Lamsos gets 3 seconds for track limits. Rosek also makes the move onto Marches, and Yoga Guy Petes and gets 5 seconds for it. Gets 5 seconds for spinning in the pit lane. Friticos gets 140.045 and improves his fastest lap time. That's a bad race, bad restart for Yoga Guy. Definitely ruined his race, this one. Vincent meanwhile made it past Lamsos. We have an even bigger train now. He tries to send it in. Gibet backs out as he comes through the cops. And we are about to start the 23rd lap as well, which means we're getting closer and closer to that checkered flag to the end of this Grand Prix. Taps it again, makes him go onto the grass. Looks like it wasn't wet to dry, but wet throughout. Still closes. Everyone's close. Everyone's close. He tries to make the move on Big Boy, but stays back still. He's the main one to go past him. Tries to go side by side. Tries to go side by side. G-Bell almost loses it, giving the place to Skittle. Skittle now gets the B5. Ken Skittle gets back to the top 3. It's now a possibility. This is getting really, really close. The Thungler makes the plays almost on G-Bear. Swarskiller almost managing to make the move on Big Boy. Big Boy defending like a lion right now. What defend from... Oh! Thungler looks to have seems to have spun. As well as Wolsek. What happened between those two? The guy now gets 3 seconds to track limits to get back to the front of the pack. I don't know what happened there. But for sure they're now close as Vincent spins out and damages his wing. Not what he would have expected at all. Skittle trying to get that top 3 back. He's doing a massive recovery right now. They're both getting slowed down and letting G-Bear approach. Skittle has to go onto the sausage curb there. Oh, and that's another spin from someone. Thungler goes into the pits. Vincent gets 3 seconds for track limits. Not the best of races at the end for Vincent. He was leading, now gets 5 seconds pitting in the pit lane as he pits, as well as Wolsek. Big Boy gets dropped from the 4th place. Wolskiller manages to overtake him. Now it's side by side between Skittle and Big Boy, who make contact. They're still side by side. And Skittle is past. Skittle goes past. 2 more laps. With Skittle trying to catch onto Wolskiller. Can you make the dream come true? Meanwhile, G-Bear is getting closer to Big Boy as well. Now, penalties to consider as well. And as it stands, Skittle has 9 seconds. Monza 3 seconds for track limits. As we have G-Bear then catching up. Skittle pulling Wolskiller pulling away from Skittle on the penultimate lap. As we're getting closer to the end of this race. And look, it's 3 seconds meanwhile for track limits. Oh, G-Bear almost loses it there. Luckily doesn't get any track limit warning. Yuka guys, Belly could actually get points, but he's just 1 place from getting them. And he currently sets the fastest lap I will not give him any points since he's out of the top 10. He has to make the dream come true as well. Catch up to get a point, at least one. This makes it pass. Dvorak meanwhile. No overtake yet, but Jiba is still close. Bonsai almost makes him go to Brazil. Almost loses it as well by bouncing on the sausage curb on the inside curb. Skittle is managing to make up some seconds onto Schwarzkiller. Jiba taps Big Boy again. He's definitely going slow as he gets tapped again. They make contact. Big Boy wants the B5 as well. Wants to tip the B5 at least as Vincent spins. Yuka gets sets an even fastest lap. Big Boy trying his best to get that P5. Bonsai side by side he is with Big Boy. And Jiba almost tried to make the move but got passed by Bonsai. Yuga gets 3 seconds as for track limits. Big Boy right now doesn't want the P5 to go away. At least it's 10 points, I think. At least 10 points for Ferrari. After Yuga had some bad luck to face. But he's catching up rapidly onto Lamsols, who has 25 lap old wet. March is done with 3 seconds for track limits. As here comes Triticos to cross the line and win the British Grand Prix in Tier 2. PRL Season 3 British Grand Prix Round 7. Won by Triticos, followed by John C. and Schwarzkiller in 3rd, Skilled in 4th, Bonsai in 5th, as he makes contact. Bonsai in 7th. Can Yuka approach Lamsols? Unfortunately he can't, but he was so close. One more lap in had got them. Last 3 drivers to complete the race then. Oh, the Big Boy and terminal damage at the end. But yeah, Schwarzkiller in 3rd. Big Boy in 4th, Jiba in 5th, Skittle in 6th, Bonsai in 7th, Memorial in 8th, Lamsols in 9th, Lamborghini in 10th, Yuka in 11th. Going up to complete the session by spinning in 12th. Vincent and Dvorak still battling as Dvorak almost actually went wide. Vincent in 13th then, and Dvorak in 14th. And that's your final grid, final results for today's race. Fritico's in first, John C in second, and Swordskiller in third. Let me invite them to our party. Then Big Boy in 4th, G-Boy in 5th, Skittle in 6th, Monza in 7th, Merlin in 8th, Nemesis in 9th, Marches in 10th, Yoga Guy, Thungno, Vincent, Dwosek, Concave, Henyaland, Fizzy Spring, Fanfron Fred, and Gaminator. Now, hello, John C.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty fine. Make sure to include your audio.
Pardon?
Include your audio through the checkbox in the party. So you can be heard on the stream.
Oh, what do I need to do? Sorry.
There should be a checkbox the
Done.
top of the party.
Done.
Yeah. Now you should be heard on the stream. Let me see if the others will have time to join. We'll start in a bit. I'm waiting to see if the others have time to join. Waiting for Friticos and Swordskiller. And we'll begin. So we will be starting in 2 minutes. Waiting for Swordskiller. Fruity can join. So it most likely be you and Swordskiller if he can attend.
Yep. How was the race from your perspective? Was it enjoyable to watch?
Yeah.
Lots of action, apparently.
Yeah. There was some parts where not much was happening, but overall it was great to watch. Of course, rain probably made some drivers struggle. Wasn't expecting rain in the race.
I kind of had a feeling it'd be wet. Just prep my setup in advance to just have a wet one, but yeah, when I saw the dry quali and wet race, had to mix it up with how to structure the setup.
Yeah. So it looks like Swole's killer is not replying. So we'll start. Um, welcome to the post-race interviews after the British Grand Prix round 7 of this third season in PRL T2. We joined by John C, as you may have already guessed. So, let's start to talk about the qualifying session, which was dry. We saw in the qualifying session, you actually had some good runs. You managed to get in the top 10. And how would you say the qualifying session went for you and your teammates?
Well, I took my time. I mean, obviously, I saw that it was going to be a wet race, so knew that there was no point of saving mediums or saving the softs. If I wanted to switch strategies, and just focused on using the soft tires. Try to get a good balance on my setup. To kind of get a good qualifying position, but also good enough setup for the wet race and a little bit in between. Because if you go full dry on a for qualifying like that, yeah, you can get like top 3 or something like that, but you'd be totally exposed in the race. So, Fruity, for example, he had a wet race setup. I don't know where he qualified for, but it totally worked out for him in the race. And for me, I think a good balance. I definitely could have qualified better, but I think I was a little bit exposed by being a little bit conservative, knowing that it'd be a wet race. But it gave me good balance for the race, and on the contrary, if I went full aggressiveness, maybe I could have qualified better. But it started out a little tricky. I mean, I went out on on a 3-lap fuel load and invalidated. Went out again, took my time and set it up for a 2 hot lap fuel load or 10 kilos and did an okay first one, P12, and then just saved saved the tires for the next run. Didn't go into the pits and went for it, and glad I got 8th.
All right, and for the race, we saw there was some pretty there was some drama due to the rain conditions, due to the weather conditions. Many drivers spun. You though managed in the end, at the end of the race, to get that P2, which was unexpected for you, I guess. But let's talk about the first half of the race. How did the start go, and how do you think your teammate? How do you think it went for your teammates?
The start went really well, actually. I got a good launch off the grid. A lot of traffic up in front, and I think there was a car that braked a little too soon, and I tried to slow down, and then he kind of spun, and I had to wait, and then I got past. I think I was going to be like P7, P6, and then I had to just slow down. The car was in front of me. I didn't want to wreck my wing, so I slowed a lot, and he kept spinning, and then I finally got through. But at that point, I was like P12, P13, or P11. So start was great off the launch, but then turn 2 or 3, just took my time from that point, P12 for the rest of the race, and thought to myself, maybe go the full length. If there's no safety car on these tires, instead of pitting, because it's a really long pit stop. But was ready to pit. If a safety car came out. The first one was pretty early, so I stayed out, and then either on the second one or the third one, and once it was like lap 8 to 12, at that point, wanted to be prudent and pit, and a lot of people stayed out, and those guys ended up pitting afterwards, not during the safety car. So just thought about being strategic with the race, not be too aggressive, because I really thought other people would make mistakes, and just wanted to keep my composure, be light on the throttle, and take my time and pace myself. And at the end, it was really looking like a shot for P1, but I wasn't going to risk it. I saw, Fruity had a 6-second penalty, and his pace was really phenomenal. He was probably gaining on me, probably on average 3/10 a lap. Some laps he'd gain a full second, maybe I'd claw it back a little bit, but I just didn't want that to tease me so much, so to speak, because I knew that I could lose it if I was just trying to get within that 6-second penalty window of his. So I said, what, if he makes a mistake, great, but I just kept my pace, and if I got P1, great. If I didn't, I knew that, just a podium is really, I knew that a podium was in sight once I saw it was a wet race, and just got to keep cool, composed, and not hit the throttle too much, and Honestly, if I came home with a top five finish, that would have been a win for me. As far as my teammate, I'm not really sure. I think I saw him. He was in the points like P8 or P9, towards the middle of the race. I was 2 cars behind him, and then unfortunately I saw him spin. But I think we both could have gotten in the points. He was looking like he was for a top 10 position himself.
Do you think if the weather condition was switched to dry instead of being wet throughout, do you think you have managed to get the same place?
It's a tough question. I wouldn't know if I'd get the same place because I think a lot of people that made mistakes wouldn't have under dry conditions. But I know for sure I would have had a better setup. If I set up my car for kind of like more towards a wet race, but still had some dry component to it. I qualified P8 due to that. I sacrificed a little bit of the speed, to have a rear downforce setup for the wet race with everything else a little bit normal. So I think I could have qualified top five in a dry if I set it up for a dry, and then yeah, I think top five could have been very doable in the race if my setup was based accordingly to that. Top 10 for sure. Top five would have been the goal, and I think top five would have been reasonable. I like Silverstone a lot. It's a race I have good control on. Didn't have one track limit warning in the wet, so I think I only had one track limit warning during Imola, so I'm really focused on just being composed and driving in a steady manner, but relatively aggressive. So that's kind of my thought process, and I think a top five would have been there. Podium, not too sure. It's tough to say. I think it's possible, but never really know unless I set it up right for a dry race. So I'm kind of curious myself.
All right, and last question then. Who would you say is your driver of the day for today's Grand Prix?
Where did Swaz start off on the grid?
Uh, if I'm not really sure. No, let me check. So Zorskiller, I think he actually started out in the top five. Actually, ninth.
Ninth, and then objectively, I'd for sure give him driver of the day. I would answer it twofold, right? So I started P8 on the grid, but really off turn three, I was like P12. So to finish in a podium, I think I would have given myself driver of the day just based on that. Managing the race, being pretty efficient throughout, and coming back from outside of the top 10, basically, 2 turns into the race. But if Swaz started P9 and finishing P1, in addition to knowing that he had to keep that delta, above 6 seconds with the penalty, the pressure was on for him, and I would give Swazkiller definitely the driver of the day.
Oh, and one more question actually. We saw Vincent was keeping the lead for most of the race, and at some point he had to pit, which made him lose the lead, but his teammate at the end got the win for him. Do you think Sandros struggled in the rain, and how do you think this affected the performance?
I don't think I don't think a lot of drivers struggled in the rain. There are people that spun, so it ruined their race. But if they weren't spinning, I think a lot of people actually kept their cool. I don't really know if there were any wheel battles, but I think where people messed it up was overthinking the pit stop, when to pit, because there were multiple safety cars, and some of them pitted too early, and then on lap 5 or 6 or 4, whenever the first safety car came out, and which is smart, but if you're going to stay out for the rest of the race on 20 lap tires, you're going to be exposed. So I think the guys that pitted on the second safety car, like myself, were the ones that were in the real advantage. Second or third safety car, there were a couple back to back between lap 8 to 12. It's the ones that stayed out after that, who were in a good position to pit and didn't pit, that hindered their race at that point. Anybody in the top five that didn't pit by the third safety car jeopardized their race completely. But I think overall people drove efficiently, outside of maybe a couple of people that just hit the throttle too much on turn 2 or turn 3. Um, but it seemed like people were driving pretty well, outside of whatever incidents happened. I wouldn't know.
Alright, that's the end of the those post-race interviews then. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the 8th round of the season next week.
Awesome.
The let me check. Yeah, Hungary.
Awesome. I appreciate the time and hope it was a good race for everybody.
Yeah. See you then.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Good enough, I would say. This race, of course, can't be the same as many other races we had. It still was an enjoyable one. I enjoyed it. Not gonna lie. So we'll see you all, as you heard, with Hungary, the Hungarian Grand Prix on 8th March next week. And who knows? Maybe we'll start seeing some more. We'll start seeing the grid even closer, because the more we go on with the season, the closer the racing gets and the drivers get. So we'll see. With that being said, that's the end of today's 7th round of the season. We'll see you all next week at 7 p.m. GMT, and may the best start getting points to get that title, because we are about to start the quick break. Wait, no, actually I'm right. It's actually 8th March. Next week it is. I know the season break maybe 6th March actually, the season break, and the Hungarian Grand Prix. The season break is after Hungary. It's 1 week long, so yeah. After that race we'll have a season break of 1 week. With that being said, that's the end of today's stream. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to the drivers for attending, and we'll see you all next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I don't know how many times I said this, but bye.